And I'm Allison.
And we're here again to show you some more variations of different poses. Today we're going to do downward facing dog or
Adho Mukha Svanasana.
what she said.
All right, so we're going to start at the top of the mat. I'll work on focusing on grounding my feet right here, coming into a soft bend in the knees. I'm gonna fold into the forward fold, give that little soft bend until my hands can firmly reach the mat. When I feel safe here, I'm gonna start walking my feet back. Now my fingertips are spread wide apart, my palms are gripping into the mat, and I'm slowly rolling my shoulders back, keeping my neck, my head nice and loose, ears are between the arms. Now with those knees bent, Renee, what do we do with our knees? We give a little walking of the dog
Yeah,
here.
you can pedal the feet a little bit. You just want to make sure that they're safe, make sure that they're not necessarily locking. So how does that feel in your body, Allison?
It feels pretty good, and depending on your stance, depending on where you feel you need to deepen this or back off, you can walk those feet closer to the hands or farther away. You want to find that little tilt of the lower back, lifting the hips up to the sky, and press your heels towards the mat. And of course, it doesn't matter if our heels reach the mat, you're just pressing towards there.
And Allison, this is a beautiful downward facing dog.
Oh, thank you, Renee.
Mine don't tend to look like this, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Now another option here, variation 1. If this is too much on your wrists, bend one elbow at a time and lower down to your forearms. Right there, I can instantly take that pressure away from my wrists, relaxing them, and this is a version of dolphin pose. Still lifting in the hips, still pressing the heels towards the mat. When I'm ready to release out of this a little bit more, I'm gonna bend my knees all the way down to the mat, tops of the feet on the mat, lower those hips down into a child's pose.
Ooh, child's pose is always a good one. That was wonderful and significantly beautiful to watch Allison do her version of downward facing dog. If you're like me and a little bit shorter, you're going to see that I struggle a little bit more with downward facing dog, and so we're going to come back and show you some modifications that you can do if you're a little vertically challenged. Thanks, Allison.
Thank you, Renee.
All right, so now we're going to continue our variations of downward facing dog, or
Adho Mukha Svanasana.
that's that. And I actually have a shorter torso than Allison, shorter arms and shorter legs. So I'll show you how downward facing dog looks for me on the mat and why I've developed and worked more with different variations because it feels better in my body. That's a lot of what I teach, and I know Allison teaches in her practice as well, is that it doesn't matter what it looks like, it matters how it feels. And so while this doesn't look as wonderful as it does when Allison does it on my body, or my body doesn't look the same, it feels different too. So I'm going to show you how it looks for me.
This is one of the reasons why we say yoga is for everybody, regardless of your physical abilities, your ability to stretch. So this is Renee in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana.
So I'm rocking downward facing dog here, but to be honest with you, I'm not getting a lot out of it. I can't feel the stretch very much. It's really more just me holding myself up, and I certainly can't bring my elbows down like she did into dolphin because there's just not space there to do it. However, what I've learned is that you can do downward facing dog a number of different ways. So one of the other ways that I like to teach is to do downward facing dog in a chair. So you can have any type of chair, but you want to make sure it's nice and sturdy, and you grab onto the top of the chair, or if you're still tall, you can do the flat part as well and turn it around. Oh yeah, you can do it that way. So I'm gonna bring this back, and oh my goodness, does my downward facing dog feel delicious here. My ears are in between my arms. My heels actually do come all the way down to the mat, not that they have to, but I'm getting the full extension of this pose. My tailbone is stretched back. I've blossomed my booty towards the sky, and it feels good. It feels so much more like a dynamic pose in this, and I would assume that my body looks happier.
Yeah, you definitely look like you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So that is a variation, and then I'm going to come back in a moment and show you a variation of downward facing dog at the wall. All right, so our last variation of downward facing dog is at the wall. So a lot of people will tell me, well, I don't have a wall at home that's empty. That's okay, you can use a door, just make sure you lock it or no one's about to come through it. But in my studio, I do have a wall here, and we use the walls a lot. So I come on up to the wall, And I bring my feet a little bit closer, still hip width or shoulder width distance apart. And I spread my palms out. So this is a nice stretch for the hands too, which is always important. And I'm gonna take the right leg back and then the left leg back. And you might notice that you need to draw your hands or fingers down a little bit to be in alignment. Press the tailbone back. And I'm gonna still draw my hands down a little bit more. And we're a downward facing dog. Everything is engaged. Our ears are in between our arms. If we want, we can pedal the feet a little here. Feels really good. And you've taken the worry of balance away.
And Renee, what I also like about this variation of the pose is it's good for pregnancy as well.
It is.
When I had a big old pregnant belly hanging down, this is very helpful in,
Yeah.
in getting that.
Yep, it's gonna keep you safer. So those are the variations of downward facing dog.
Mhm.
2 different bodies, 2 different people, and the same great pose.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.